said to be considering the plan. Hashim Al-Barra has the very latest from Sana'a.
This could be the last attempt to diffuse tension and break the deadlock here in Yemen. The opposition, after rejecting an offer for a national unity government, met with the clerics and sent a new proposal to President Ali Abdullah Saleh. They basically want him to resign this year to ensure a peaceful transitional period. And this is something likely to be slammed by President Ali Abdullah Saleh, who considers himself the ultimate constitutional legitimacy here in Yemen until 2013, the time when he plans to resign. This is a perfect scenario of a standoff, of a political crisis here in Yemen. And this raises concerns among Yemenis of a civil war or an armed confrontation between the supporters of Ali Abdullah Saleh, who say that we have to wait until 2013 and go for new elections and decide the future of the country. And the anti-government protesters who say that if Ali Abdullah Saleh doesn't resign now, they are going to call for a Friday of warning, and then they're saying that anger will sweep Yemen.
Security in Côte d'Ivoire is deteriorating as fighting continues between President Laurent Gbagbo's forces and supporters of his rival Alassane Ouattara. Thousands of people have been trying to flee the violence. The UN says conditions are dire, with supplies of food, water, gas and petrol running low. International radio broadcasts are also being jammed. Imran Khan reports now on how some Ivorians have found refuge in one of Abidjan's churches.
Finally, a chance to smile and to sing for some. This is St. Ambroise Church, Abidjan. But instead of spiritual healing, it's medical healing in this makeshift refugee camp. Thousands have fled the fighting between supporters of the man the West recognises as Côte d'Ivoire's leader, Alassane Ouattara, and Laurent Gbagbo, who is clinging to power despite international condemnation. They arrive here dishevelled, tired and in desperate need of care.
We have two types of people, those who only stay for a day and those that stay longer. We try and help them move to safer places.
And with homelessness comes the threat of disease. The International Red Cross fears that the longer this goes on, the higher the chance of disease spreading.
The most urgent needs that we are talking about are linked to health. The need for medicines is also linked to hygiene, which is also linked to the need for shelter.
Most of the fighting, which some fear could spread to civil war, has been in the Ouattara stronghold of Ababo. The sound of constant gunfire and fighting is now a distant memory for the ones that have made it here. For these men and women of God, helping the few that they can is all they can do.
We tell them they can always use this area for their children. We can't abandon them. That's why we come here, so we can protect them and their children.
The refugees here escaped with only what they could carry, and they've got no idea when they can go back or what they will go back to. Imran Khan, AlJazeera.
There are reports that parts of Abyei in Sudan came under attack on Thursday morning. The information minister of South Sudan said the north of the region was particularly affected.
This attack was carried out by the Sudanese army and the Popular Defense Forces. It's not the Masiria. The tribes of Masiria and the Dinka Nog have no problems with each other because they live together for a long time. We think this attack is carried out by the Khartoum national government.
Meanwhile, the Sudanese government has said it will hold an administrative referendum on Darfur. Speaking in Doha, the advisor to the president said preparations have already begun.
We will start arrangements for this referendum. It's a referendum on the administrative status according to the Abuja Agreement. And this means we will start procedures that deal with this requirement in a democratic way for those residing in Darfur to decide on this issue. We expect it will take a few weeks because we need a law on how to hold this referendum. Of course, this is stipulated in the Abuja Agreement, which we adhere to, and it's not something new.
Zimbabwe's president has lashed out against the West over sanctions imposed on him. Addressing party members, Robert Mugabe threatened to take over foreign firms in retaliation. He also called for a boycott of overseas goods. The European Union and the United States had earlier imposed a travel ban on Mugabe and his supporters over suspected human rights abuses. Apple CEO Steve Jobs made a surprise appearance to unveil the second generation of the popular iPad. Defying media speculation about his health, Jobs took to the stage to promote the new computer, which is described by Apple as thinner and faster than the previous model.
We've been working on this product for a while, and I just didn't want to miss today. So thank you for having me.
Let's have a quick reminder now of the headlines here on Al Jazeera. There's been heavy fighting in the Libyan town of Breka. The area was attacked by pro-Gaddafi forces in a major counter-offensive to take back lost territory. But Gaddafi's troops were apparently unable to take control of the oil port. That happened as Muammar Gaddafi once again publicly defended himself. Addressing journalists, he played on Western fears by comparing Libya to Somalia.
If Libya doesn't exist anymore, then there will be destruction in the Mediterranean. The gas pipes that pass through the region will be destroyed, and so will the electrical power connection, and bin Laden, the pirates, and the Somalis will come, and the jihad will move from the north of Africa to Europe.
The Arab League says it could impose a no-fly zone over Libya if fighting continues. The group's Secretary General says this action could be taken in coordination with the African Union.
We'll continue consultations on the best way to protect and guarantee the safety and security of the Libyan people and that of the Arab nations. We will not remain idle in light of the bloodshed that the Libyan people are facing, and therefore we may resort to a no-fly zone, and the Arab League and African Union are cooperating in this regard.
At least 2 people have been killed in Yemen during clashes between security forces and protesters calling for reform. Thousands have also been demonstrating once again in the capital Sana'a and the northern city of Saada. Opposition parties have presented the president with a set of proposals they say form a roadmap to departure. President Saleh is said to be considering the plan. Bradley Manning, the soldier accused of leaking thousands of classified U.S. government documents, is facing more charges. The army has filed an additional 22 counts against him, including aiding the enemy. Manning has already been accused of 12 other charges in connection with the material which was published on the WikiLeaks website. 2 U.S. airmen were killed and another 2 servicemen were injured when a man armed with a handgun attacked a bus carrying troops at Germany's Frankfurt airport. Police have arrested a 21-year-old who's from Kosovo. Microfinancier Mohammed Yunus says he will fight the decision to sack him as head of the Grameen Bank. He was fired by Bangladesh's central bank on Wednesday. It says he violated the country's retirement laws. Nobel laureate Yunus denies the accusation and says he's seeking legal advice. Those are the headlines. Frost over the world is next.